Okay, so I'm going to share a little secret that I learned about being in your 20s, and maybe it's that your 20s are not about finding yourself at all. It's not about finding your purpose or the perfect career path or even just magically knowing what you want to be doing with the rest of your life. No. They might just be for you to figure out everything that you don't want. And honestly, that might just be the best part. Because think about it. You take up this new job, and in 2 weeks you're Googling, is it normal to question every single life decision you've ever made? You go on a date with someone who looks great on paper, but then by dessert, you're like, yeah, this is not happening. You even pick up a new hobby, you buy all of the supplies, and then you tell all your friends that you're entering your artistic era. But then 2 days later, the paint is still just sitting there, staring at you, maybe even judging you a little bit. And the funny thing is, nobody really celebrates this part, right? We're all taught to celebrate what we gain: your job, friends, passion, even a sense of purpose. But nobody actually tells you how valuable it is to actually lose things, to walk away, to realize that, yeah, this isn't for me. And that clarity is important too, because you can't know what you really want until you've lived enough to see what definitely doesn't fit you. And when you really think about it, that's pretty much how we understand ourselves right now, right? Because if I were to ask you, who are you and what do you like? You might not have a very clear answer to that, and that's completely normal. But if I ask you, okay, what is it that you don't like? Now suddenly, that's an easier question to answer. You know you don't like certain foods, certain environments, certain people that drain you, and even certain ways of living that just doesn't feel like you. And maybe that's what your 20s are all about, figuring out all the things that you don't like. The more you understand what doesn't fit you, the easier it becomes to recognize what actually does. And here's the other side of it. Not everything really requires 10 different attempts. Sometimes you can actually get it right on the first try. Maybe your first relationship ends up being the person you marry. Maybe your first job ends up being the one you build an entire career out of. And at other times, maybe you end up switching through 5 different hobbies before you land on the one that really feels like you. And both of these are okay. You don't have to change things just for the sake of changing them. But at the same time, you also don't have to settle for something that makes you feel less and less like yourself. And what I've realized is that there's no moral high ground in struggling. At the same time, there's also no shame in something being easy. Your path is allowed to be whatever it naturally is. But we put so much pressure on ourselves to pick the right path immediately, as if somehow we're supposed to have the self-awareness at 22 to make a lifetime's worth of decisions. You're still figuring out your taste in pretty much everything: food, people, music, the way of living, the kind of job you want to do. Even the way you like your coffee might change a few months from now. And honestly, here's a way of looking at it that actually made so much sense to me the first time I heard it. So imagine you become an adult at the age of 18 and now you're 22. Well, that pretty much makes you a 4-year-old adult. Now, would you expect a 4-year-old to know their life's purpose, to pick the perfect path, or to make flawless decisions with almost zero life experience? Of course not. So why would we expect that from ourselves? We're all just very young adults trying to make sense of the things we're experiencing for the very first time. Half the things you're into right now might not even make sense to the future version of yourself. And that's okay. Maybe that's even the point. Because it's kind of liberating when you actually stop pretending that your life is somehow supposed to look different by now. Now here's something that could completely change the way you look at your 20s. Think of yourself as a marble sculptor. You don't begin with a masterpiece straight away, right? You begin with a big solid block of marble. And then you start chipping away at it little by little, removing every bit that isn't what you want your final sculpture to be. And as you do this, slowly, ever so lightly, the masterpiece within begins to appear. Maybe your 20s are the same, and what you need to do is chip away at everything that isn't you. The job that drains you, the habits that shrink you, and even the identities that don't really feel like you anymore. And well, what's left? That's your masterpiece. So if you feel behind, just know that your 20s is not the decade when you need to figure out an answer to all of life's biggest questions. Your 20s might just be a time for you to collect enough experiences to even understand what those questions actually even mean. You don't have to pick the right path or even know what it is. You just need to keep removing the wrong ones. And for now, That's more than enough.